Welcome to the Little Psychic Podcast, where grounded growth meets soul work. Limiting beliefs get bust wide open and your intuition is cast as the secret weapon to leading the way in your life and business. I'm June Mack, Spirit Channel for Light Leaders, intuition coach, and not your average business mentor. My mission is to make working with spirit no longer something you have to hide for credibility, but something embraced as powerfully as business strategy. This podcast is more than words and conversations. It's an energetic activation, and we dive into all things spirituality, purpose, and soul-led entrepreneurship to align you with your highest frequency and help you understand why the hell you came here. If you're listening, this is not a coincidence, this is a call out. You came here with a mission, you came here to create an impact, and you are not here to play small. If you found me, you better be ready to remember. Hello and welcome to this episode of the Little Psychic Podcast. I am June Mack, your psychic medium teacher and business coach to the spiritual entrepreneur. I'm so excited today because I have a very special guest and friend and a Little Psychic School member since 2022, actually. I was just looking at your list up here from July 2022, which is quite impressive. Is Em Stawicki your soul guide? I thought that I would let you get straight into introducing yourself because I do prefer my guests to introduce themselves. They do it so much better than me. So welcome. Thank you for being here, Em.
Thank you so much for having me, June. It's lovely to be here and connect with you. And I am a psychic medium and spiritual mentor and the founder of the Modern Mediumship Academy. And I am on my, spiritual journey, as we all are. And it's lovely to be part of the Little Psychic School since 2022. Yay!
Yeah, because I was literally just thinking the other day, I was like, oh my gosh, like you always talk about it and you haven't even had anyone on from except for Shannon from the actual Little Psychic School. And like, you guys have got the coolest stories ever. So I'm definitely making an effort to have you, as many of you on as I can. I'm slowly going to go through and I hope you feel honored because you're the first one. I was like, I'm going to ask Em first.
Of course, that's just stroked my ego just a little bit.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
I know, because I love it, because I mean, how we actually know each other. I don't even know. I think I was running a promotion for the Little Psychic School and you were one that jumped in. Oh, that's right. It was like an open week or something. I had like an open week, I'm pretty sure. And you actually jumped in at the same time as Shannon. And I'm pretty sure, I don't even know, how did you find me? Because I've never actually asked you, I don't think.
Well, you know what? Actually, I don't know. So, and I think that that's the amazing thing, right? Spirit will always put us in rooms where we need to be at the right time. And I truly believe that. And I think you were just running some kind of like open Zoom and it was just come and jump in and connect with people. Yeah. And I think that was the biggest thing at that particular time was that I was looking for community. Yeah. And, you know, Spirit led me to you and then I've been ever since.
Yay, so good. You know, you explained all the amazing and wonderful things that you do, which we'll get a little bit more into in a moment. But, I mean, tell us a little bit about your journey, like growing up and things like that, because I know a bit about it, but I love hearing other people's stories. And like, did you always have abilities? Like, were you always seeing spirit? Tell us a bit about what's happened with you and how you sort of got to here.
Yeah, I guess the biggest thing is no, I never always was connected to spirit. Not that I really am aware of, if that makes sense.
Yes.
I always was, what's the word? Interested, right? So I was always very, very interested in all of the celebrity mediums, like, you know, your John Edward and Lisa Williams. Like I used to binge watch that. And, you know, like at my time era, it was like, you know, crossing over with John Edward. Like I used to love all of that stuff. And I always, I guess, had what I referred to as weird things happen to me. But it wasn't until much, much later in my life then that I did have my big spiritual awakening that I realized all of those things that were happening were coming from inside of me and my connection to spirit but I always believed that it was outside of me.
Right.
Like I always believed that you had to be born a medium, that you know, were gifted, like special gifts. And I guess I never believed that I was that person. So I never really linked the fact that I had these experiences with the fact that I was connected to spirit. Yeah.
Yeah. I absolutely love that because it's just the same, mind space that so many people are in. So I went to, so just as an example, I went to a like a music festival thing on the weekend,
Yeah.
and people finding out what it is that I did, and then like obviously having a few drinks, and they're asking me all these questions, and the similar questions just come up, like over and over again, which is, oh, I didn't know you could learn, how to do this, or you could,
Yes.
open up your abilities. I just thought like it was a thing or it wasn't a thing. So I love that you have that side of your story that you didn't feel like, you were always connected to
Mm.
spirit
Yeah.
and not realizing. And so when you say that you had things that were happening, there's one story in particular that I think I've been talking to you about for like a year now.
Yes.
Because you told it to me, I can't even remember when, but it's one of those stories that, when you hear just like these amazing stories about spirit and you just haven't dropped it from your head. it's, it must need to be told because I've spoken to you about it a couple of times, but it was the story of, was it when you were having, is it your first daughter?
Yes.
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 All right, go tell us because
Yes.
I love it.
Okay.
Get this story out finally.
Yes, and the thing is, when I tell you this story, it's like almost like people go, "How did you not realize that was the
You're a
case?" But
medium, yeah.
yeah. How did you not realize then? And I think the thing is, like the logical brain always will give me a logical answer. So
Yes.
like that's
Yep.
would always be what happened to my weird experiences, I guess. So yeah, let me tell you this story without too much TMI. But I was in labor with my first daughter, and I was having a pretty hard time. I'd been in labor about 21 hours and I was exhausted. There was lots of complications going on, lots of people in the room, lots of kind of stress and panic. And it was actually probably, I was only just thinking about it last night, June, because I knew we were going to talk about this. And it just dawned on me last night that actually it was a traumatic event. And I had never actually like connected that
Right.
there was trauma attached to that till I was actually thinking about it last night. So that's
Yeah.
interesting
Yeah.
that came up for me. But anyway, it was quite traumatic. And she wasn't coming out. She was stuck. There was all these things going on. And all I remember was, everyone else in the room, obviously they're doing their job. They're trying to make sure we're all right and everyone's in work mode. But I didn't have anyone there. Like my husband was there, but husbands are not, I'm not even going to go there, right? But there was a nurse that came in, and it was near like when baby had to come out. We had to get her out, and there was this kind of panic in the energy. And I had this nurse came in, and she was just so different in how she was speaking to me. So all I remember was turning and seeing her, and she was like talking to me with this very calm voice, and she was like, "I'm here. We're going to get baby out. Let's do this together." And I was like, she was so calm and in her energy. And like, I feel like she even held my hand, but I can't remember. It's quite
Yeah.
vivid.
Yeah.
But all I remember was her voice and how comforting and calm it was and how it really, really helped me. And I know exactly what she looked like. I could describe her. And she was just telling me, "Look at me. Don't look down there. Look at me. Look at me. Like, I'm going to help you." Anyway, I remember checking on her badge and her name was Hazel. And I remember thinking, I must like thank her. Like we got baby out, and in the, in everything going on and checking she was okay and all that stuff. When I turned back around, she had gone. And I just remember thinking, I know who she is. I must speak to her because she was the only one that I believed at that moment helped me. Everyone else was kind of shouting at me and there was all this chaos. And obviously we checked on baby, and after everything had got sorted out and sort of calmed down and they got me all back to some sort of normality, I'd asked the nurse and I said, "Oh, can you tell me if Hazel is still on duty?" And she had said to me, like, we don't have a nurse on the ward called Hazel. And she said, but actually she might be an agency nurse. Let me go and check. So she'd gone off and I was like, oh yeah, okay. She'd gone off, like didn't think anything about it. And then she came back in the room and she said, we don't have a Hazel that's work shift tonight. And I was like, what? I'm getting emotional actually talking about it. And I'm like, and I was like, no, she was here, black bobbed hair, wearing this blue outfit. Her name said Hazel. She was about 60. And they were like, no, she's not here. And my husband was obviously with me the whole time of the birth. He goes to me, what are you talking about? There wasn't anyone there. And I was like, what do you mean? Of course there was this. And I was like, but everybody convinced me that she wasn't there.
Right.
So what it actually ended up happening was at that particular time, like I just decided because they give me pain relief,
right.
well, maybe I've like hallucinated it.
Yes.
Yeah. So I fully had convinced myself that I'd hallucinated the whole thing. But when in fact, now I know exactly what happened.
It's so incredible. Like I literally had chills because like since, becoming a medium and understanding how to tune in, have you ever then gone back and tuned in to like Hazel and where she was from? And like, have you ever tried that?
Yeah, actually, no, I haven't.
Oh my God, you have to do this.
I haven't. I didn't actually. It hasn't really crossed my peripheral to do that. But yeah, maybe I should.
Was she a past life connection? Was she a spirit guide that came in just for that particular, instance? Like, it'd just be so interesting to.
Yeah, it would. I kind of had this belief that she was obviously had been a nurse in that particular hospital at some point.
Right.
That was my feeling. It was like she was almost like the gatekeeper there, like the keeper of that space.
Yes. And was her uniform the same as the others or not?
It was like a darker blue. It was more like a navy.
Older.
Yeah. So, but they all wear like different kind of, but when I really thought about it, it wasn't, they wear all the kind of scrubs now.
Yes.
You know how they wear the scrubs, but she actually had like, how they wear the dresses.
Yeah, I can literally see it.
Yes, you can probably see her, right? Black bob. Yes, black bob, name badge, and then the actual dress, like the more that kind of dress than the scrubs,
So incredible. I love that. And it's so funny that you said as well, like there's trauma there, because I literally thought, oh my God, me too. Like I haven't dealt with the trauma from my first birth either. Because I feel like there's nothing like your first one, the shock of the first one. It's like,
and then June, we go back and do it twice more, right? What the hell?
Totally worth it. Totally worth the trauma.
Totally worth the trauma.
Yeah, but that's incredible. So, I mean, and it's just, I haven't had so many situations even like that. The only one that I can think of is like as a child, like, physically seeing things and then mum telling me I had imaginary friends. And that was the only sort of like similar situation. And then I'm pretty sure I shut down because that was figuratively speaking clairvoyance, like in front of me. And I'm pretty sure I shut that down at some point because something had frightened me and now it's gone into mind's eye, like clairvoyance. But yeah, I do remember now, looking back at as a child, actually seeing them just like, normal people. But that went away. So anyway, that's a really cool story. Finally got that story out.
Yes, I know. And that was my first biggest experience after I did shut down my my clairvoyance when I was a teenager.
So you shut yours down as a teenager, and why would that be? Like overwhelmed or not understanding it?
Yeah, I think it was just being frightened. Yeah. So the first biggest experience I had was, or that I remember, was at 16. I was at my dad's house in Germany and they had like lofts there, like, in Europe, they have the lofts and I always used to sleep in the loft space. And I woke up in the morning at around about 3 a.m. and I had a young girl standing by my bed.
Right.
So I woke up and I remember having this feeling of needing to open my eyes. And like, which normally I wouldn't do in the middle of the night. Yeah. And I opened my eyes and I had a young girl standing by my bed. She was almost transparent. in the way she presented, but had like a long, very
Yes.
sort of Victorian
Yeah.
dress on. And then I put the
Chills
covers over my
again.
head and cried for about 3 hours and was so, so scared that I stayed under the blankets. I don't know what I thought was going to protect me. But anyway,
Yeah.
until the light came up.
Right.
And when the light came up, then I got out of there. But there was something that really interesting that happened after that. My stepmom was in the house, and about an hour after I had got up, I was downstairs. She came, like, she was quite fiery. She came down the stairs and she was like, "You have been making all this noise upstairs." And I'm like, "Well, what do you mean? I'm down here." She's gone, "I've just gone up to see where you are because you're banging and clashing and you've woken me up." And I'm like, "No, like I've literally been down here for like the past hour."
No. Oh gosh.
I wasn't up there. And then I told her what had happened. And then that was it. Like I got all my stuff out of there and I never went back up there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so funny you're saying that now because I was saying, I don't think this has happened to me, but I'm literally having flashbacks of like remembering as a teenager, like in my little single bed, like turning around and seeing, I don't know if I think it's I Know What You Did Last Summer, like that dude with
Yes.
like the hood on and like the hook, like
Stop
someone
it.
like that standing like behind me and like seeing it in my mind's eye first and
Yes.
knowing that they were there and then like
Oh,
turning around and then being there, but then disappearing. And then
yeah.
another time, like, so because I've been with my husband since I was 18, but like being a teenager and waking up in the middle of the night and seeing a little girl like across the bed, but next to my husband in Victorian outfit, like the
Yes.
ringlets, like,
Yes.
curled hair ringlets, and just standing there with a doll and like literally
Not the doll.
no, the doll. Standing there with the doll and literally like jumping onto the other side of the bed and going to my husband, there was a girl, like standing there
Yes.
and having all these experiences and just, I don't know, thinking,
Yeah.
we must have just thought we were dreaming or something or nightmares. And, now it all makes sense, but I've just forgot about all of that. So thanks for bringing
Yeah.
it on my back.
Just triggered those memories. Yeah.
But
I
anyway,
know. Yeah.
oh, for those of you that are listening that are like, okay, I never want to be a medium because this is scaring me. Just know that you can shut all of this down. You've got your own. I have an episode called Boundaries with Spirit, which you don't have to deal with any of this stuff. Literally, you say no and it's gone.
You
right?
get to choose. Yeah.
Exactly. And you've had all these experiences, growing up and then things happening to you. But I mean, at what point did you decide, like, so where did we go from, because what were you doing? I mean, I know was it beautician, hair extensions?
Yeah, like I had my beauty business for I guess maybe 5 years. Yeah, that was the business that I was running then. Had multiple jobs and things over my time, but that was where I was at that point. I was doing beauty, and as we know, often with beauty as well, it's like you're hands-on with people.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
So many people in my space or come to me from your space, beautician or hairdressers or nails or masseuses or like, and they're just like, I'm seeing things, like things are happening. What's going on? So I love that. And that's when you started in the little psychic school, actually. You we're still running your beautician business, but had started dabbling in the mediumship side of things. So what drew you to that?
So I guess as a lot of people, I lost my dad in 2017, and I'm in Australia with my English accent, but here I am in Australia, and he was in Germany. And what really happened then is that I didn't get my goodbye. So I got on a flight, didn't make it, lots of people's story, and I didn't get the goodbye. But while I was actually there within the space, because obviously I had traveled, I started having these really intense experiences with spirit while I was there. And it was insane. That's a story for another episode, right? I am the story girl. And so I became then aware. It was almost like he was the person that made me more aware that this thing was inside of me and connected to me rather than outside of me.
Yeah.
And then I started to get curious. And I think when people say, am I a medium? Am I psychic? I go, are you curious about it? Because if you are, then yes.
Yeah.
Um,
That's so good. I love that.
yes. And so I started getting curious and going to different circles and dabbling and looking on the internet and, you know, it was almost like I was started to dip my toe, if that makes sense, in what this was and what was happening. Then I had a huge spiritual awakening. And pretty soon after that, they put me on the journey of realizing there's more than the physical body and the 3D. So that's that's kind of how I ended up pursuing what was happening. The actual mediumship side of it, because obviously I dabbled in the psychic stuff and things like that. The mediumship came to me because I had an experience one day when I was doing a girl's hair, and without knowing it, she was talking about her daughter. But then without knowing it, I actually started to channel her daughter. At that point, I actually didn't know her daughter had passed.
Yeah.
And when I was talking to her, I was telling her things about her daughter that I believed that she had told me. Does that make sense?
Yes, but she hadn't said anything.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes. And so what had happened was she just started talking about her, like how she was like a teenage daughter. And I said to her, oh, she's got lots of trophies for dancing, has she? And she we stopped and she kind of looked at me and she was like, what? And I said, oh, the trophies for dancing. And she was like, how do you know that? And I was like, no, you just said to me, she's got lots of trophies for dancing. Like I had repeated what she said.
Yeah.
And she was like, I didn't say that.
That's so crazy.
And then at that moment, at that point, I kind of was like, okay, if this is real, I remember thinking, if this is real, like you need to give me like something tangible. And then it was just massive. Yeah, it snowballed. That's the word I was looking for. It literally blew my mind. And then that was the point that I realized, I guess, that if I can do this, because she said to me, and this is what changed everything for me, you have just done for me what nobody has been able to do for me in the 14 years since my daughter passed.
Wow. Yep.
And obviously I didn't know it was that length of time or whatever. And I remember thinking, if I can bring this kind of healing to people, why wouldn't I want to do that?
Absolutely. There's nothing more addictive. It's literally like, oh,
yeah,
it's a bit,
yeah.
I don't want to say twisted, but addictive. Like it's just so amazing. And I know that you would feel the same. You just feel so honored to be actually able to do this for people. And I mean, you know, people who have tried it and felt that high of, you know, when you do connect and you are able to pass over messages that can just change the entire healing trajectory of someone's life, it's just incredible.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. And I think as well, you know, Spirit brought me her, and it was super interesting because she actually had a salon herself, and she had said she had no intention at the time I was doing my hair extensions of getting her hair extensions back in. And every time she opened Facebook, my page.
I love that. I just got the chills.
Yeah.
It was there.
She said, every time I opened Facebook, your advert was the first thing. And after we were connected, she said, I truly believe that my daughter brought me to you.
100%. And it was meant to like awaken you, that inside you as well.
Absolutely.
Which is just beautiful.
Absolutely.
And I actually remember, so when you first started in the Little Psychic School, you know, that community I think you said you were looking for. And I remember you having the guts to do platform reads, which for anyone that doesn't know what that is, it's where there's a group of you online on a Zoom and you try and connect with, you know, whatever spirit comes through. And I remember you not doing it full time and I knew you had wanted to transition. And I was actually trying to think of this the other day because, like, I've said in so many podcast episodes, you know, I have this thing where I can like pick out your good, and I couldn't think of a way to articulate it. But I think it's more so your full potential, or I see whoever I connect with, it's like I see their highest timeline or what it is that they are capable of.
Yes.
And with you, and I've never said this to you, but early on, I knew it. Like I knew where you could get to. And I always like just thought you were such an amazing medium, even though I know at that time you weren't so confident.
Yes.
And it's just been so incredible to see, like over the past, 3 years now,
Mm.
how that just switch and change. And I love it as well because you have the same passions as me of like actually figuring out that it's not so much our connection with spirit that we need to work on, it's the crap within ourselves
Yes.
that we need to shift to have that strong connection with spirit. So I mean, so many people listening might be in a similar situation. What are some of the, like, how did you work, like what were some of your biggest setbacks? I mean, like, like confidence, I'm gonna guess is like
Yeah.
one of them. And like just to like obviously there's probably a few years worth to unpack, but like a quick way that you can
Well, look at my list.
yeah that like helped you to sort of overcome these things and step into this full time, because you're doing this
Yeah,
full time now.
I
Like you've
am.
made
Yes.
full transition, which is like where so many people want to get to. Like how did
Yes.
you do it? 101.
I guess 101 is the biggest thing is finding the mentor that's right for you. That's the first thing that I'd say.
Yeah.
And anyone that's looking for a mentor, I recommend that you just get into groups, you go to circles, you try different, put yourself in different places and actually feel for yourself, is this the mentor for me? Is this a person that can help me get where I want to be? And I totally, in as we know, in our journey, right, different mentors work different for different people. And that's the biggest thing that I'd say is important. The other thing is that your healing yourself is in line with your spiritual development. They're not separate.
Yes.
And you can't do one without the other, is my
Yes.
belief. And what I mean by that is people who think, oh, I've got to do all my healing or I've got to heal all this stuff before I become a medium or a psychic, however that is for you, a healer, whatever your look or you're drawn to do, is that's a misconception.
Quick pause, little psychics. If you'd like to check out all the ways we can work together to ignite your intuition or step it up in your mission and create the business and life of your dreams, head to the link in my show notes. Or don't forget, you can always reach out via DMs over on Instagram at Ms. June Mac. Now let's get back to the episode.
Because you heal yourself as you help other people.
Yeah.
And I truly do believe, and maybe not everybody agrees with this. And the one biggest thing I always say to everyone, to my students, to anyone I come in contact with, is that you have to run this through your own belief system and how it fits for you. I believe you just need to be a little bit ahead of a person that is you, right? You are your own first student. You are your own first client. And you only need to be a little bit ahead, right, to hold the hand of the person behind you. And I truly believe that not everybody does. Everybody believes that, you have to be highly qualified to help other people. You have to do all of this other stuff. That's not my belief system.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I know that I can bring other people on the journey that I've been on quickly, because, I know that I don't have all the pieces. I don't know all the pieces. And but I know enough to bring you on the journey, if you choose to. So, and you have to, and everybody's belief will be different about that. And that's okay, because we're all different. And, the mindset, I guess, is more nervous system regulation.
Yes.
So you can tell your mind that it's safe as much as it wants, you want to, but if your body doesn't feel safe, if you're triggered to get in front of people, if you're triggered about getting no's or getting something wrong, like the biggest thing that I see and hear is, what if I get a no?
Yes.
What if I get a no? What if I get it wrong? And what I would say to any listeners, anyone that feels like this, is have a look at what it means to you to be wrong. Have a look at what it means to you to get a no. What is the energy attached to that for you?
Yeah.
because that's what's holding you back. And generally, right, because we all do it, we're parents, you and I, right? We tell our children, no, you can't have that. No, you can't do that, right? So no ends up with this connotation of negativity.
Yes. And it doesn't need to be.
It doesn't need to
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't need to be. So it's really looking at your belief systems around what it means to make a mistake, get it wrong, get a no. That's my biggest thing. And really, once you uncover the story that you've attached to that, then actually, and it's quite interesting, because if you put yourself in some positions where you're going to get a no and see what happens, like, I don't know, maybe you're going to go and buy some clothes at a clothes shop and you ask them, hey, can I get 10% off that today? It's probably a good chance you're going to get a no,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, if you put yourself in situations where you get no's so that you actually can feel really neutral about
Get
that,
used to it.
that's one of the biggest things I say to my students. You know, go and ask for a discount. Go and ask, you know, something that you know you're going to get a no, because then you can check in with your body. How does my body feel when I get that no?
Yeah.
You know?
And it's so good. Like literally everything you said, you obviously can't see. I mean, for those of you that might be listening and not watching the video, but I'm like nodding my head like ferociously for everything that you're saying.
Yeah.
Because I mean, this is probably why we gel together, right? I mean, I just completely agree with everything you just said. And I always say that, you know, to students as well, because one of the number one things that they say is like, oh, well, do I know enough to be able to do this? Like I want to teach, but I don't think I can. I don't know enough. But I totally agree. And it's my belief system as well. You only need to be literally one step ahead of somebody else to be able to pull them through something. And this is from someone that I stepped into readings. I stepped into teaching quite early on in my development. I was in like the first year and I did them in the closet for a bit. And then I was like, no, I got to get out. I've got to come out of the spiritual closet.
Yes.
And I think that, to be honest, what actually pushed me forward the most in my development was the different people that I was reading for and practicing on. Because you know, come across so many different situations. And like you said, you start to pick up things within yourself, which is like, well, why can't I, you know, pick up people's, you know, mums as well as I can dads. And you start thinking like, what is it within me that doesn't connect, you know, like these two together. And, you know, it took me a bit longer to realize like that I would be a better, you know, psychic or medium if I worked on these things within myself. But I learned that also through like reading a lot of different people and getting the no's. And that's where, for me, what I sort of did was reframe what it meant to me, which is more along the lines of a learning like possibility. So it's actually, if I do get a no, it's like, okay, so what it is not anything negative, but did I just misinterpret what has come through? Have I just said it in a way that doesn't land, you know, for the other person? Or is it actually going to be a yes and they haven't realized it? You know, you obviously, I call it reading amnesia. Where they forget in the reading and then afterwards they come back and go, actually, that I know exactly what you're talking about now. That made sense.
And I've actually experienced that as the client as well.
Oh, me too.
100%. Before I actually fully stepped in this, the first time a medium brought through my dad very strongly, I literally my brain just like exploded. And like I couldn't actually I couldn't process anything in that time. Like I was, you know, I couldn't process it. So you know, like you probably get those emails afterwards, you know, that go, oh my gosh, like I've just remembered what this piece was, you know.
Yeah. Well, like I had this one situation where his father kept saying, I'm like showing me knocking on wood. I'm knocking on wood. Like, and he's going, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, did you hear a knocking sound or has knocking happened? Like, I'm trying to figure it out because it's so insistent. He's going, no. Anyway, we got off. And he said, I was actually hearing this sound. So while we were on our reading, he could hear this sound in the other room and he thought something had fallen down. And afterwards he went to go and check. He thought something had fallen. There was nothing that had fallen, but he was like, it was I thought it was something wooden that had fallen off the shelves. And it's probably his dad going, like knocking in the other room going, I'm knocking right
Yes.
now. Like, can you not hear this? Like, and he's like, no, something actually fell. I thought something had fallen, but that's the knocking sound that he's saying.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
was happening
definitely.
like right then and
Right
there.
then and there. Yeah. Like, I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
So, and and in saying that as well, I was going to ask you, and I think because I do know like part of this story as well, that one of the biggest setbacks you had probably, in this space, which actually has happened to a lot of my clients. It's so common where you had, one what you would call like not a great reading,
Yes.
and it just like pushed you back. So what
Yeah.
happened? What happened in that reading?
Yeah, so it was kind of, I'd done some I guess some development with a few different little people, like in different spaces, and I decided, right, I'm ready. Like, I've done X amount of really amazing practice readings, and I'm ready to put a price on my readings, and I think it was like $44 or something I put on, which I thought was a fortune,
My kids
and
started around that too.
And then I booked in some readings, and the very first reading that I did, I literally got no's to everything.
Yep.
I tried to go to different people, like different spirit people, like every single connection that I tried to bring in was a no.
Mm.
And I give her her money back. And it's the first thing that I did. And then I was like, that's it. I'm done. This is not for me. I'm out. And I actually, I think what I really found, which might kind of take us into the next story, but was that a lot of the teachings that I had learned up to that point, like, just felt quite a struggle for me. And there was a lot of kind of rules and rituals and this kind of thing. And, before every reading, I was trying to meditate, and I was like trying to connect in and all of this kind of stuff. And I found it quite overwhelming, actually, was what it was. And I remember going into that reading and coming out the other end and going, you know what, this is actually just too hard.
Yeah.
It's just too hard. I don't have time for this. I've got a business, I've got 3 kids, I've got a husband, I've got a dog, all the things. And maybe this just isn't for me. And that was the catalyst to me actually walking away from this work it was about 6 months.
Yeah.
It was about 6 months. I just kind of threw the towel in.
Yeah. And so many light workers do this. So
Yes.
I think it's an important story to share.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what I truly believe is what's meant for you is never going to pass you
No,
by.
it just will not stop popping up, will it? It's just
That's right. And
pounding you.
Just got louder.
Yeah.
Yeah. It literally, spirit just got louder. My physical experiences and my environment got louder. Like, things would move, like all the things were happening. Like, the experience was like fully sensory to what was happening to me. To the point where that was when I had the experience with the lady and the hair. So it was,
right. Perfect timing.
Yes. So that's how that came about.
Yeah.
So I'd had all of that stuff, and then I'd walked away, and then spirit brought me her.
Yes.
And I truly
so
believe
beautiful.
at that point, it was to show me, this is my path. This is for me. And I remember then saying to spirit, like, if you want me to do this, and a lot of people don't realize, right? You can ask spirit, I need you to give me this in a different way. I need you to work with me in a way that works for me, where a lot of people think they're not in control of that, right? That all of this is happening, but they can't control it. Which
you
is
have 100% control over everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I remember just saying to spirit, look, if you want me to do this, you actually need to send me the mentor that's going to help me in the way that I work. And I'm quite a direct person, right?
Yes.
Like, I'm not someone that's fluffy.
Yeah.
And I'm not someone that needs a lot of, that kind of rules and rituals. Like, between you and I've probably had one stick of sage probably the whole time I've been in the little psychic store, right?
Yeah.
And that's blasphemy. Like, I probably shouldn't say that.
No,
But
I think I'm in the same boat as you. I honestly believe, and it's actually one of my pillars of what I work, is run it through your own filter. Like, just do
that's
what
right.
is right for
Yeah.
you. And actually,
Yeah.
and I've said it before, if I come across a mentor that it's like it's my way or the highway, that actually, and that's
Yeah.
probably something I need to work on, that triggers me.
Yes.
We are all different. So why would the same way to connect suit everybody? It's not going to. Like, just do
And
what feels right for
yeah,
you. Yeah.
yeah. And that's where we're definitely aligned, because that's what I talk about a lot, right? Is that what I found in my journey is the people that I came across that I did get, I learned stuff from them, and it was amazing, and it was really good groundwork. But what then happened was everybody had their way of saying, this is how you must do this. This is
Yeah.
how you must do that. And when you threw it all together, like if you go and do little
Oh,
courses here and there,
yeah.
and
There's so much, right?
and you throw it all
Yeah.
together, it's like, well, who's right? Like,
Yes.
what should I be listening
Nobody.
to?
You.
Yes, exactly. But there is quite a lot of ego in this space, and there is a lot of people that will come along and say, no, you have to do that. You must do this. This is the way that spirit works. This is the way you have to work with spirit. And I guess that's why, maybe sometimes I feel a little bit controversial in talking about things that are, about the belief and the empowerment that this is your journey. Like, I am
Yeah.
not here to teach you mediumship. Like, I am here to help you to understand how to communicate and awaken that part of you that's forgotten.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, we all know, and we're all, it's funny because everyone's like, get in touch with your intuition. But if your intuition is telling you, I don't like that way, and it's not working for you, it's like you don't have to do it that way. And
Yeah.
I'm the same as you. I've gone through so many different mentors, but I don't know, and I didn't realize it was controversial actually until you kind of said that. I'm like, oh, maybe it is. I haven't really thought about it that way. That I've just taken the bits that actually make sense to me and use them
Yes.
for myself. But then the amazing thing is when you're teaching different people, I feel like, I know you're probably the same, I have this intuitive ability to go, I know how you are going to like to learn this.
Yes.
And some people, how you said you don't like too many steps. There are so many people that actually want, okay, I want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Yeah.
point A, B, C, D, and
Yeah.
E, F, G. I need to know the steps.
Absolutely.
And other people that are like, I don't even want to think about it. I just want to do it, and protection, no protection. Like there's just whatever. I don't, it doesn't matter.
I always talk about it in a way of like baking a cake, right? It's like we all like different types of cakes.
Yeah.
Right? We
that's
all
a
like a
good
different
analogy.
flavor in cakes. And what I found that helped me most was finding the mentor for me was really looking at all of the other development that I'd done and going, okay, what I've done is I've got little pieces of recipes from lots of different people. But when I've thrown it into the cake, it's not giving me what I want because I'm trying to use lots of little different ingredients to bake a cake that I want at the end, where you get to choose the pieces of that you put in the cake because you want to have, I don't know, a chocolate cake at the end, right? So, if you throw in little pieces from someone's carrot cake and someone's, blue velvet cake or red velvet cake or whatever, and you try and throw that all in a recipe, you ain't going to get a chocolate cake at the end, right? So it's really about selecting the ingredients, exactly what you've just said. So not about other people's ingredients. It's about selecting the ingredients of what you learn and putting it in a cake that works for you. So that at the end, you're going to get what you want. And that's the biggest empowerment piece in the journey of being a medium. Guess what? You get to choose the pieces. And I do also think that is also a really good reason to find a mentor that's baking the cake that you like, right? That, they're talking the terminology that when you listen to them, they're going, oh yeah, that makes sense to me. Like, yeah, like I understand that. And that's the one thing that I'll say to people. If you're looking for a mentor, getting a mentor that's going to take you on the journey as well, like a full journey of getting you where you want to be. But also when you're listening to them, like it aligns with your belief system. It aligns, you're curious. You're like, oh my gosh, like I really understand what you're talking about. That makes sense to me. And that's how, because people go, well, how do you know? How do you know who's the person for you? That's how you know.
Yeah, well, I think that's a really good thing to bring up as well. It's actually, I believe that we all have soul contracts of sort of who we're supposed to learn from and who we're supposed to connect with. And I've actually got this thing now that I've realized that I can recognize a soul contract in another person. And when I have like people that I connect with and I meet, I have that recognition and I go, you're going to come back to me. I'm going to end up working with you down the track, you know, but I would never say that to them because it's like it's got to be their choice and their decision and they've got to figure it out. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they can't get past their own, limiting beliefs or whatever to get to that space. But I'm always like, oh, I know this person is going to end up back in my field. And that's the same for you. So if you're looking for a mentor, you will recognize that in another person. How do you know? You can't stop thinking about it. Everything that they say, you feel it like it's almost like an excitement bubbling up like in your belly, or I feel it in my solar plexus, which is like just that. And that's your soul's recognition of like, this is the person that you're meant to work with.
Yes. It's interesting. I just had a student start in the academy and she said to me, as soon as I met you, I was like an octopus. Like I was all over I was all over you. I was all over everything. And and it was so funny when she said that. And it was like all of a sudden she popped into my world and she was literally like
just all over it.
Which was beautiful. And now she stepped in and
just loving it, loving life. And that's like actually, so a couple of people inside Psychic School Elite is like, they were like, okay, I'm feeling a bit nervous, or this might be a bit of a stretch for me. But then as soon as they jumped in, the excitement, it's like, I'm just so excited. And that's like when you know, is you feel like, you literally feel it. You feel that excitement. And I think like rounding it up into the end of this podcast episode, I wanted to go back to, how you said you took like 6 months off and then, it just kept coming back up. So I think that's really a good advice for other people, if they have put it down for a bit, even spirituality full stop, and it keeps, being that thing that keeps coming back up and keeps knocking at the door type thing. That it's probably your sign that it is to pick it up. And, even though you've been through all of that and, it's not an easy journey, all the time. Like there's definitely, you got to be prepared to work on yourself. And so many people don't realize like how much crap you realize. You're like, you think you're healed? Oh God, no, there's so many things.
You're never healed.
No,
There's always another layer.
But it's worth it. So that was really the end of the line, is like, look where you are now. And if you hadn't have actually taken the risks and taking those steps and done the scary things, like look at what you would have missed out.
Oh, 100%. Definitely. Like Spirit was never going to let me walk away from it. Like I truly do believe that. And another interesting thing is when I went back over my business plan for my beauty business, and I looked back over it, there was one question that said, if you could do anything in the world and you had no limitations, what would you be doing? And I actually wrote on there, I would be a medium.
Yeah. See, there you go. Oh, and I just got the chills with that too. So I love that you said that. And now I've got yours in my head, so I've kind of forgot what I was going to say. But it was along the lines of, when I wake up, and even if I had someone inserted like $20 million into my bank account, I still, and this is how you know you're in line with what your purpose is and what it is that you came here to do, I would still do this. It's for me, and for most light workers, it's not about the money, right? It's just about like the impact that you want to make on the world. And I truly believe that I would still want to wake up and do this, because I can't not do this now that I've started it. I couldn't wake up and actually not do it. Like my soul, I feel like would just like shrivel away. Like I need to be doing this. And when you actually do step into it and you feel what it feels like to be able to do this work, there's no going back.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the biggest takeaway is, right, you'll never be ready. You'll never be ready. It's a myth.
Yes.
Right? You be ready by doing the scary things, the things.
Yes.
And you know what? The magic is in the thing that you're resisting. So if you're listening to this and you're resisting, but you have a knowing, the magic lies in the thing that you're not doing.
Yeah. And I actually, this is so in line with what we're doing in Psychic School Elite at the moment, which is like those fears are actually just like the doorway to everything that you want.
Yeah,
Everything that you
100%.
desire is literally on the other side of just those, like that one little fear about self-confidence. And it's not like you wake up tomorrow and all of a sudden, okay, I'm self-confident. Like there's always different layers. There's always different layers to work on. You go through different periods of that. But like you said, you just feel the fear and you got to do it anyway. And I sort of say, and I know it's easier said than done, but I tend to do things now and not think. I'm just like, I'm going to sign up for this. So I'm going to do that. And then I think about it and crap my pants later, like, when it gets closer to you.
And you know what? I was actually blown away when I found out this piece of information. So I'm going to share it to you. Do you know that, you may know this, I don't know, that it's scientifically proved that there's only 2 fears in the whole world?
No.
Yes.
What are they?
So they are falling.
Okay.
The fear of falling.
Yes.
And the fear of loud noises.
What?
Yes.
I don't even understand. So many questions.
Yes. Everything else is man-made. Every other fear.
True. Yes, that makes sense now.
Yeah.
Yep.
So scientifically proven, when we had to protect ourselves, falling, loud noises are the 2 things, and every other fear is man-made.
It's our own construct. Like literally, it's just crazy, isn't it? That's so nuts. I love that. Okay. Well, Em, it's been like so freaking amazing talking to you, and I love everything about you, about what you do, about this episode really. But where are all the places that we can find you? So tell us where to find you.
Yes. So you will find me on socials at Em Stawicki.
I'll put it in the show notes. Don't worry.
Your Soul Guide.
Yeah.
And the Modern Mediumship Academy. So my website is www.emstawicki.com, and you'll find me under the same name on socials.
Amazing.
Any final advice? Get out your own way, right?
Yeah, cool.
And I guess the biggest advice is, everyone has it within them to be a medium. Everyone. Nobody is born any differently with any different kind of gifts. And if you are curious, that tells you that you have something inside of you that you want to look at and develop. Yeah, and I wish that someone had told me that a lot longer.
That's so great. And it doesn't mean like just because you are curious that you have to then become and do it for a living. Like so many people jump into this space just because it enhances your life. Like it makes things better.
Yeah.
But that's such a great final piece.
So many people step in because they've lost their own loved one and they want to connect with them first. Mm-hmm. And then they realize how much healing can be brought and they want to bring it for others too. Yeah.
Amazing.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so
for having me.
Thank you for being here and for being in my space. And thank you everyone for listening. I'll see you.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Little Psychic Podcast. You can follow me over at Ms. June Mac on all social media or work with me via junemac.com. I would be so grateful if you love this episode for a follow and a review over on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It's been an absolute privilege to be in your ear.